Welcome to your weekly cosmic weather report. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. And in these weekly videos, I go over the energy and the astrology for the week ahead. And in this video, we will be going over the astrology and the energy for January 19th to the 25th, 2026. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. Please make sure you check out the new moon forecast as we are just coming out of that new moon energy that we had on January 18th. We had that new moon in Capricorn at 28 degrees, connecting to Uranus. So make sure you check that out. I get into all 12 rising signs. That new moon, it was actually a time to really seed intentions to and to build a good solid foundation to carry you through the year, because there is so much earth-shaking energy this year and change that we really need to be creating ourselves some solid foundations. Now, one thing this week we do have is all of the personal planets are starting to shift from Capricorn into Aquarius. Now, I want you to keep in mind, as we have Pluto at 3 degrees of Aquarius. So as the personal planets enter Aquarius, they are going to form a conjunction to Pluto. And by the end of the year, we're going to have a Venus retrograde in a square to both Pluto and Mars. And so on Monday, January 19th, we have the Venus-Pluto conjunction. I want you to be aware of what is showing up for you now. And even as Mars Mars is entering Aquarius on the 23rd, on Friday, and will form the conjunction to Pluto on the 27th. And as these planets form the conjunction, something is being seeded, something is starting, something is beginning. When we have planets forming a conjunction, it's almost similar to a new moon energy, but around the themes, topics, and energies of those planets. So Venus ruling our relationships or our values, our self-love, self-worth, what we need to feel good, what makes us feel good, what are we passionate about, our desires. That is our Venus energy. So with Venus forming a conjunction to Pluto, Pluto could be digging something up to the surface, or something may be coming to your awareness that I want you to just be aware of, because you could be revisiting that, or there could be some tension around that, or something arising at the end of the year when we have the Venus retrograde. The Venus retrograde this year is not a happy Venus retrograde. Venus is going to station retrograde in Scorpio and retrograde back to Libra, and will be in a T-square to both Pluto and Mars. And so that is um, it's a very difficult energy, and we'll talk more about that as we go through the year. But the reason why I'm bringing that up now is because we have the conjunction. So we just had the Venus-Mars conjunction on January 7th. Now we're having the Venus-Pluto conjunction on Monday, January 19th. So I just want you to be aware and pay attention to what is showing up, because there can definitely be more to whatever is coming up at the end of this month, showing up at the end of the year through that retrograde. Now, also on Monday, the 19th, we start Aquarius season. Well, we will have the sun enter Aquarius, and slowly working our way to spring, and that Aries 0 degree point, which is where we're going to have that Saturn Neptune conjunction, which I just want to throw this out there. I just finished my presentation. I will be recording that hopefully today and have that posted either by the end of today or tomorrow. So make sure you watch for that, because I really go over what the Saturn and Aries energy is, the Neptune and Aries energy is, and how this is going to intermingle and show up in all 12 rising signs. So make sure you watch for that. Now, on January 20th, we will have Mercury entering Aquarius. On the 21st, we have our Mercury Cazimi. And then on the 22nd, we will have Mercury forming a conjunction to Pluto. So for the good portion of this week, there is a lot of active Mercury energy. Now, the good thing about this Mercury energy is that Mercury does good in Aquarius. Mercury is an air sign. And so this is where we can have new ideas showing up. This is where this is freedom thinking thinking kind of energy, thinking outside of the box. Now, Mercury will be combust for the first portion of the week, and then we have that Mercury cazimi on the 21st, and the Mercury cazimi is when the Sun and Mercury come within it's an exact conjunction by degree and point, or by degree and minute, sorry. And Mercury combust is when Mercury's under the rays of the sun, not necessarily, it's not a cazimi, it's not an exact conjunction. And so the sun is almost uh, making it a little bit hard to think clearly. Like Mercury isn't able to shine because he's under the rays of the sun, or it's not he or she, under the rays of the sun, kind of being burnt, being suppressed a little bit. And so this week, it could be a little bit difficult to get our thoughts out there, or there could be issues around communication, technology, information. There could be a lot of information coming out this week. We want to pay attention to the news, social media. We could hear a lot with this active Mercury energy this week. So just be mindful of that and your own world. This can also too, like if you know your birth chart and the houses that Mercury rules, or if Mercury is your chart ruler, like you will feel this more personally and more intensely. So you definitely want to know that as well. Now, on Thursday, the 22nd, when we have Mercury forming a conjunction to Pluto, that is the day where we could hear some type of something that was hidden, some hidden secrets, something that was behind the scenes, something like this could literally be something more about like the Epstein files coming out, like something along those lines, because Pluto really kind of brings what is hidden to light. Pluto is that energy that what am I thinking? Like it really gets down to like the roots and brings everything up for everyone to see, if that makes sense. It digs beneath the surface and brings out what is hidden. Pluto is a very transformational energy. It's very intense, very not, I don't want to say dark, but it's a very psychologically powerful too. Like with Mercury and Pluto together, this could be a very psychological energy too, because Mercury rules the mind. Pluto is very psychological, where Pluto can rule manipulation, obsessions, compulsions, things like that. So yeah, the 22nd can be one of those days. We want to utilize that energy in a more positive light. Like if you feel yourself overthinking, or your mind is having a hard time kind of not going to a dark place or a bad place or whatever, just have that kind of mindfulness and that awareness on those days. And again, this could be a day too that in your own world, maybe something that is hidden is coming to light. Maybe there is a secret revealed. Maybe something that you've been trying to figure out is shown, because Mercury is the messenger. So, and then on Friday, the 23rd, we have Mars entering Aquarius. And so we will start to feel the buildup to the Mars Pluto conjunction. And we really want to pay attention to Mars Pluto energy only because it can be quite volatile. We do kind of experience, I had a rough Mars Pluto journey last year, but again, there's something that will be seeded. So then when we have the opposition, the Mars Pluto opposition at the end of the year, you will know what this opposition is going to bring. Because again, that can be very highly volatile. Like Pluto rules obsessiveness, and Mars is violence. And so this very, when we put Mars and Pluto together, this very much can indicate power and control dynamics, abusive dynamics, things like that. So you want to be just, cautious if that is something that you deal with in your world. I like Mars Pluto energy which I'll get into next week, because that's when we have it on the 22nd on Tuesday. But it's not a day to go walking at night alone, really. Like if they're, don't take any chances in a Mars Pluto transit, please. But with Mars entering Aquarius on the 23rd, we will start to feel that energy build. And I want you to pay attention to what is showing up in your world. around, any type of power struggles or power and control dynamics or, anything like that. Also, too, on the 23rd, we'll have the moon entering Aries. So, Mars being the ruler of Aries, there could be quite a lot emotionally coming to the surface. So, whatever the Mars Pluto conjunction brings, it could be emotionally driven, if that makes sense. Now, really, like, we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week because on January 26th we have Neptune entering Aries, which is going to be huge. And I may even just take a minute right now to talk about some of this really crazy energy because Saturn and Neptune are going to form a conjunction at the 0 degree point of Aries, which is the first degree of the zodiac. Then this is a literal representation of a world reset. And so, again, watch the video I'm going to post about Saturn and Neptune, where I get into all 12 rising signs, because you'll really see how this is showing up for you on an individual level. But this is where Saturn, the planet of rules and restriction and delays and hardship and time, is meeting up with, and also Saturn is at its fall in Aries. Saturn does not do that great in Aries. Saturn does not like to be in Aries. So this is not a supportive Saturn energy, which then debilitates Saturn, makes him a little grouchy. Saturn is already, that grouchy grandfather. And being in Aries, it's just amping that up a little bit. So also remember that. And then with Neptune, which literally is the planet of illusion and delusion and everything that is unseen and the unseen realms and dreams, and is very mystical and spiritual and represents intuition and interconnectedness of all things. And meeting up with Saturn, it's where dreams meet reality, or where and it really depends on how you look at it, because it could be where I don't want to say where dreams die, but it could be also where dreams uh where dreams can fly. So if we look at it, yes, it could be where dreams die, but if we utilize it in the proper way and are aware of it, this is an energy that we can utilize to get those unthinkable, unreachable, things we never thought that could be possible off the ground. It's in Aries. It's in the first sign of the zodiac, the first degree of the zodiac. So if there ever was a time to reinvent yourself, this year is it. Like, this is it. And being in Aries, which is it represents the self. It's a very sovereign energy. This is where you have to step into your uniqueness, step into your individuality, who you are as a person, not hold back anymore. Be who you are, and who that fire inside that you've been holding back for one reason or another, you may find this year finally is untainable, and it just comes out. And that is what is going to be successful with this energy. It's no more of surface level things. Like, people want genuine authenticity, relatable, and being yourself is how we're going to get through this year and beyond. Like, the old world is now changing, it's dying, and there's this new world ahead, and stepping into who you truly are and who you're meant to be in this lifetime is how you are going to be successful and survive going forward. I don't know if I want to say survive, but you know what I mean. And so, stepping into your uniqueness, your individuality, Aries is it's a very sovereign energy. This is where we can also see the people and power structures clash. There could be a fight for freedom. There could be a fight against governments and leaders, and there's definitely going to be changes to that, which I get into in my Aries, Saturn, Neptune, and Aries forecast. But I did just want to touch on it because, I mean, we're already almost here. Like, Neptune enters Aries January 26th, and that's what we'll be talking about next week. So So hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of the energy for the week ahead. And yes, so we definitely want to watch for information is going to be big this week. There's a lot of Mercury energy. We want to pay attention on the beginning of the week on Monday for that Venus Pluto conjunction, what's showing up for you, because there could be more to that story as we go through the year and then once we get to the end of the year, especially with the Venus retrograde. And then on the Friday with Mars entering Aquarius, there's going to start to be that buildup next weekend. When we get to Saturday and Sunday, you have to really have that awareness because we're going to have that Mars Pluto energy build up. And so, what is showing up for you in your world around volatility, the power struggles? Like, what is kind of showing up that you're having to address? And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. It's just that it's a possibility because that's just the energy of the planets. Now, Mars also rules our motivation and our willpower and our drive, and this could be a time of deep, solid transformation when it comes to that. Like if you've been struggling with motivation, willpower, and drive, there could be a little bit of a rebirth or a renewal in that area. That's also a possibility because Pluto's the planet of transformation, right? Is the death and rebirth energy. It rules death and rebirth. And so when Mars connects to it, or any planet for that matter, connects to Pluto, there is always that death and rebirth um, capability uh, in your own personal life, or even to utilize that energy in that way. So, thank you so much for joining me. And I really hope that this helps you get through the week ahead. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my forecasts and my videos. And I'll connect with you in the next one.